Back over with the interpretation of this, and since the other part ran out, so I can make sure that I get this connected. The head of gold, as I said, represent is the strongest, is the wealthiest nation in the earth, which is the United States of America. The silver is the less wealthiest nation in the world, as the silver is the less wealthy, less wealth than the gold. So this becomes the symbol of the United Nations, with the top of the nation, the most wealthiest of the nation, being the head of gold. The brass is the military generals, who we call top brass when we was in the military. They are the commanding of chiefs. They are the ones is the strategists for war. Now, the iron is what the hardware the military uses, which the rich nations took and create all kind of craft out of metal to use as a military vehicle. The same as the legs is used to carry the man to and fro up on the earth. And the legs was made of iron. These are the military vehicles that transport the soldiers. The clay is what the flesh is made of. So clay is the foot soldiers who operate these vehicles. The man that drives the space shuttle, he is made of flesh. All of these are works together. The foot soldiers drive the vehicles, works up together with the generals. The silver, they serve the richest nation of the world. These are the fighting forces of the United States of America and the United Nations. So God said unto us that this is a divided kingdom. In other words, everything that man created does not cling to the flesh of man. So God cannot kill the riches of the United States of America without it continue to live. He cannot kill the silver of these nations, these metal, unless it continue to live. He cannot destroy the brass, it will continue to live. He cannot go and destroy the iron, don't it continue to live. He said that he will attack the feet, which was made of clay, meaning if the soldiers is the feet of gold, he gonna kill the food chain of these nations, which are the United Nations and America. Once God destroyed the food chain, which feeds the clay, then the metal tanks, what they hide themselves in to fight his people with, the flesh would die, and when the flesh died, then the iron have to fall to the ground, the brass would fall to the ground, the silver would fall to the ground, and the gold would fall to the ground, because they cannot fight if God destroyed their food chain. This is what God telling us right now. He is going to kill the food chain of the United States of America and these United Nations, because they have subjected themselves to a curse. This is the interpretation of Daniel chapter 2, 31-35. Now, I'm trying to rush this here. I got another part here I'm going to go to. This is one of the most important parts here. Daniel chapter 3, 1-12. This is what I'm going to go to here, because I'll show you what's happening here, because God is revealing this to us. 1-12. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold. Listen at this. An image of gold. In other words, to transform the golden head to a certain image of gold. This image of gold telling you which one of these parts of this symbol, what God was given, is going to be the God's focus point. Just like the man had the spaceship. So this image is transforming itself to the image of gold. This is the work of God. It's telling you it ain't going to be the silver, it ain't going to be the brass, it ain't going to be the iron. It's going to be the head of gold, which is the United States of America. It's going to be the trigger part. And this will transcend itself into Revelation chapter 13. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold, whose height was 60 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plains of Dura and the proverbs of Babylon. This is over there in Iraq. This is where he's taking you where it's going to be at. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent together the princes, the governors, and the captains, the judges and treasurers, the counselors and the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the province, to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Okay. He used the governmental body. This gold, this image of gold, was a symbol God was using. The United States used the whole governmental body which was over the peoples of Iraq and over the peoples of Afghanistan, to made all the government, the rulers that was ahead. He conquered them and made them set up an image, which was the law of democracy over there, to give to his peoples, that they may honor and abide by the law of democracy and destroy the law which Moses had given them. Verse 3. Then the princes, the governors, and captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the province were gathered together until the dedication of the image. The image was the law of democracy. And Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up, and they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had built. Then an herald cried aloud to you, it is commanded, O peoples, nations, and language, that at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harps, cymbals, bassoon, and all kind of music, you shall fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. This is the law of democracy. This is the golden image that he's speaking of. This was the law of democracy that President George W. Bush brought there. If you don't believe it, go to the Revelation chapter 13. It tells you that was a beast came up out of the land like a lamb in Revelation chapter 13, who had two horns like a lamb. I mean, this was a new governmental body that the United States had set up. And it told him he created an image like the first beast, which is the same revelation as this. I said the head of gold was the United States of America. So the image would be this head of this gold here. This is the image that he is. This is the law of democracy. This man of gold here is the law called democracy. That he said the head of gold is the United States of America. So this image is the statute that came from the United States of America, is the law of democracy that they had to honor. Now, let's go a little bit further. And whosoever falleth not down and worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, all that time, now, since we're running out of time here, what he to tell us, you know, there was a saying that we used to say when we was children. The reason God gave us all of those harps, those instruments of music, he telling us this word. There was a saying said, you got to dance by my music or else. You must dance by my music or else. The symbol of you must dance by my music is you got to obey my will. You got to obey my laws. You got to obey my rules and regulations. This is God speaking to us. In other words, he demanded that these people become democratized. That all who do not become democratized, that they would be slain. Did you know in 2006, when President George W. Bush went over there and he gave these people the law of democracy after he dethroned Saddam Hussein to democratize the people, in every last one of them, they said from 40 to 209, 2006, was found bound, tortured, and shot in the back of the head. These were the ones that Post had voted for democracy, and when he found that they didn't honor his music, which was the head of gold, which was this law of democracy, they were bound, shot, and tortured and killed, and dumped in the middle.